All right, we are live. Let's give it a few minutes, see who shows up. We had a great stream yesterday, so we'll give it some time, see who shows up today. The purpose of today's live stream is to talk about Square and Compass Promotions, what it is, why I'm doing it, what I hope to accomplish with it, and how you can support it. I'm going to put a poll up. I know yesterday, at the end of the stream, my internet kind of went off. I'm not sure what happened, but I think it's fixed for today, or we're going to hope so anyways. If anything does happen, though, let me know. We're going to start the poll, and we're going to give it some time and see who all shows up. And like I said, we can focus on, as I said before, what I want to focus on this time around is what is Square and Compass Promotions? Which we can now actually gift Patreon memberships to other people. So that's going to be fun as well. So let's give it a bit of time, see who shows up. We're going to start talking about Square and Compass Promotions. I don't want to use the creator page for this. I'm going to switch over to myself. Just so people can find it. There it is. Took a second up so we can share it on the screen once more people start to attend. But if you are just joining us, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed, answer our chat question, and let us know, do you follow Square Compass Promotions, and do you want to know any information about it? But having said that, don't forget, this isn't just about Square Compass Promotions. I'm happy to talk about anything else that people want to talk about as it relates to Freemasonry. Just want to pull up the home screen for Patreon because that is the majority of where I come from, kind of thing. All right. So let's give it a bit of time, see who shows up. Hopefully, we have another great session like we did yesterday. Yesterday's was about 3 hours, something like that. So, or a little bit longer than that. So hopefully today will be good as well, but we'll just give it some time. Planning some more personal streams as well in the coming days. So or in the coming weeks and months, I should say. Welcome. If you're just joining us, we're here chatting about Freemasonry, but in this time in particular, we're chatting about Square and Compass Promotions, um, which is this YouTube channel. So give it a few minutes and we'll see who shows up. Welcome to the Square and Compass live stream. We are here chatting today about Freemasonry, as we always do, but in this case in particular, chatting about Square and Compass Promotions, which is this YouTube channel. What it is we're trying to do, our purpose, and our goal. So we got somebody just joining us. We had a great live stream yesterday. We probably had, I think we had like over 100 people show up over the couple hours we did it, which I was really happy about because this is relatively new to live streaming. But aside from that, it also gave us the chance to, yesterday we chatted about who was the first stonemason. Today we're chatting about, like I said before, Freemasonry, in particularly Square and Compass Promotions, what our goals are and what we want to do. So I'm hoping you guys will hit and also how you can potentially support us at Square and Compass Promotions. So if you guys can, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. All that stuff helps out big time. Answer a poll question. Do you follow Square and Compass Promotions? And that could mean following us on social media. That could mean following us on YouTube, being subscribed. That could mean following us on Medium or any number of the other places where we're at. But in the meantime, or following us on Patreon, which we're going to talk more about in a little bit. But we're going to give it a bit more time. But yeah, we got one person, one vote. Yes, thank you so much. I hope you'll also hit the like button and subscribe button if you're not subscribed. And let us know in the chat, how do you follow Square and Compass Promotions? Do you follow it on YouTube, on social media, on all of the above? Jump in the chat and let me know. So the mission of Square and Compass Promotions, I've said this a few times, is to explore or I should say, to create content that explores the many ways in which Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located, as well as posting stories of Masonic interest or of interest to Freemasons. And so we do that primarily through our YouTube channel. We have both a podcast. We started doing these live streams, and we have shorter clips and YouTube shorts, which we do a lot of. We also have our Medium page where we post written articles that relate to Freemasonry and again explore its relevance. And we have our social media channels where we do the same thing. But all of that, the purpose is, as I said, to explore the relevance of Freemasonry. The key word for Square and Compass Promotions has always been relevance. I'm going to put that here. That is what we are trying to promote with this. We want to show the ways that Freemasonry is relevant to the communities which is located, because so many people, Freemasonry, even if you're not a Freemason, Freemasonry is so relevant in your life or the life of your town, and people don't even realize it. A classic example of that would be Detroit has the Masonic Temple, the largest Masonic temple in the world. But it's also a concert venue, and there's so many people have so many stories about, from both Windsor and Detroit, going to the Masonic in Detroit, seeing concerts, and seeing different events, only to not realize, or get married there, have their birthday party there, only to not realize that it's actually a Masonic temple. And the Masons and the building of that temple are at least somewhat responsible for those amazing memories. And so in this Square and Compass podcast, we try to promote that relevance. and explain why Freemasonry is important and why it matters. Joe Archuleta, yesterday I taught you about the Phoenix. At the end of the show, you started to ignore more comments. Um, that was rude on your part. If that happens today, I will unsub this channel. Well, Joe, if I don't want anybody to unsub, um, obviously, but you can if you want to. Part of it was yesterday, the internet connection near the end started to get a little bit funky. I'm not sure why. I think it's fixed for today, but the stream started to cut in and out, so I didn't catch all the comments. But also, I did have a lot of comments I had to respond to, and so I had to figure out the best ones to respond to. So I did not mean to be rude, but at the same time, I can't always promise you I'll get to every comment. And certainly, if you wish to unsub, like I said, that certainly is your right to do so. Um, I can't get to every comment all the time. I did appreciate learning about the Phoenix and the cycle of the Phoenix. I know I want to have a live stream talking more about not just the Phoenix, but mythological symbolism in general. Because I think, as I mentioned before, Freemasonry draws a lot of kind of, I don't know what the right word is, inspiration from mythological ideas and mythological figures, the muses, certain biblical figures, which could be considered mythological, perhaps. So, yeah, but like I said, I'm not going to promise I'll get to every comment, and certainly if my internet starts to get kind of funky, I can't promise I'll see every comment. All I can tell you is I'll do my best. I'm a one-man operation here at the moment. Though I did appreciate you joining me yesterday. We're waiting for some more people potentially to join, and then I'll keep talking about Square Incumbers Promotions, why I'm doing it, what I hope to accomplish with it, as well as how people can support Square Incumbers Promotions if they so desire, and where to find us, because obviously we appreciate the support on YouTube, and that's maybe the best place to support us, but it's not the only place. Especially with the holiday season, we do have Patreon coming, Patreon, where we offer different membership levels with different kind of gifts and things of that nature. So there's plenty of different places for you to support us. Also, if you prefer written content, we have Medium, and also talk about why we do those different things and why we have different areas. But we'll give it a bit more time. It usually takes about half an hour for people to really start showing up. So, but I did appreciate all the people yesterday. It was definitely one of the bigger live streams I've had. Maybe that was why the internet started to act funny at the end of it. But yeah, I'll give it a bit more time and see who else shows up, see what other comments start to show up as well. And it looks like we had a couple people watching right now. We had one person vote on our poll. Do you follow Square Incumbers Promotions? If you voted yes, you can let us know in the chat why you voted yes, how you follow us. Is it on social media? Is it on YouTube? Is it on Patreon even? Let us know, and I will do my best to maybe give you guys some ideas about where else you can travel or check us out. Like I said, the purpose of Square Incumbers Promotions is to promote or examine the many ways in which Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it is located, as well as exploring topics of Masonic interest. So topics of Masonic interest can be pretty broad. Yesterday, we talked about the very first stonemasons, which it brings in things like archaeology, anthropology, ancient history, prehistory. We've talked about science, astronomy, and astrology, which also, again, is a pretty broad topic, but it's one that I really enjoy as well. And I think with Freemasonry, we are encouraged to study the liberal arts and sciences. Welcome if you're just joining us. I hope that you will hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as answer the poll question. Do you follow Square and Compass Promotions? And if so, how do you follow it? Do you follow it through social media, through YouTube, through Medium, or through any other areas? We'll give it a bit of time, see who else shows up in the chat. And yeah, ask me any questions you want about Square and Compass Promotions. I'm going to talk pretty soon about how you can support it. Actually, maybe what I'll do is I'll share the screen now so you guys can see our Patreon page. Just to give you an idea of some of the things that we offer. You'll notice I wrote on the top relevance being the most important thing, which or the goal of Freemason, or the goal of Square and Compass Promotions, I should say, really actually is relevance. It's trying to explore the many ways in which Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located. And there's lots of different ways to do that, but we try to do it via social media, YouTube, and stories of Masonic interest. We also try to do that a lot through highlighting and celebrating our Masonic built heritage, our buildings like the Windsor Masonic Temple, but not exclusively just that. There's a lot of different places we try to celebrate it. But I think our buildings may be one of the areas where there's a lot of relevance to people and to communities, and it's not often recognized as such. But thank you, everybody who's watching so far. We'll give it a bit of time to see if anybody else jumps on the stream. I find usually it takes about half an hour to takes about half an hour for people to show up usually. So we'll give it a bit more time. Yesterday, it was about half an hour in when we got the majority of people. So we'll give it some time. And thank you to the one person who voted. Yes, you follow Square and Compass Promotions. I hope other people will answer the poll question as well. I do plan also to have some streams on my personal YouTube channel shortly. I'm going to be working or volunteering at the Salvation Army Christmas Kettle on the 25th of November. I do that every year. And so I plan to live stream some of that just as my holiday tradition. I'll see if anyone's interested in that, as well as I'm going to plan to live stream a Hallmark Christmas movie marathon because I did that for Halloween at midnight. It was a lot of fun. I'll do that for Christmas as well. In the meantime, hit the like button, subscribe button, and let me know what you guys want to chat about while we wait for some other people to show up on the channel. You can let me know if you guys have any favorite episodes from the channel. That'd be really interesting. Or any favorite episodes or any favorite topics that we've covered so far on Square and Compass Promotions. And what those were, because that will give me a good idea of what to cover in the future. Oh, another vote. Yes. Thank you so much. Once again, if you could put in the chat how you follow us, where you follow us, if it's just on social media, if it's on YouTube, combination, if it's on Medium perhaps, where we have our written items, on Patreon. If you let me know all that stuff, it'd be much appreciated. Here in Windsor, they are getting ready for Jackson Park Bright Lights, which is a highlight of Christmas and something I love every year. So Looking forward to seeing it this year as well. I don't know if your town do any, even if you're a Masonic Lodge, I'd be curious. If your Masonic Lodge does anything as it relates to the holiday season or Christmas, a Christmas dinner, Christmas event, let me know in the chat. And thank you, everybody who's voted and is watching. Like I said, we'll give it a bit of time, see who else shows up and what they want to chat about. It's interesting. Maybe the topic yesterday got more because it was just such a esoteric topic. I'm wondering if I do another one of those where maybe I focus on something scientific or quasi-scientific, it might get greater interest. Thank you to everybody who's jumping in and watching. If you want to answer the poll question, do you follow Square and Compass promotions? And maybe put in the chat how you follow it, as well as if you want to hit the like button and subscribe button. Once we get a few more people, usually it takes about half an hour, I'm going to start talking more about Square and Compass promotions, what our goal is, and why we do these live streams. Or not just live streams, but why we produce content related to Freemasonry in general, or more specifically related to demonstrating the many ways in which Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located. But I appreciate having the 3 people watching so far. I'm just waiting for a few more and a few more comments in the chat to get started. Also, I wonder about I'm trying to figure out the best times to hold these because I feel like in the evening you'd think you'd get more people because it's in the evening, but I've been finding it's actually more in the day that I get more people. Welcome everybody. If you're just joining us, this is the Square and Compass live stream. We're here talking about, in this case, Freemasonry and specifically Square and Compass Promotions, which is this YouTube channel, why I run it, what my hope is with it, how you can support it. If possible, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, answer our poll question. Do you follow Square Promotions? And I'm going to start talking specifically about why we have Square Compass Promotions and what I hope to do with it, as well potentially as some of the successes that we've had with it over the years. Because that's a big part of it as well. I mean, it's amazing how long we've gone and all the things that we managed to accomplish with it. And sometimes it's easy to forget that. But it's been a lot of work, and thank you to all the support. It's a lot of knocking on doors and all that type of stuff as well. There's a big physical, or not physical, but mental component to all the work we put in as well. But it's something I really enjoy. I'm going to give it a few more minutes. We'll see who else wants to jump in. Excuse me. And please, like I said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and answer the poll question. Do you follow Square and Compass Promotions? As I was saying, excuse me, the purpose of Square and Compass Promotions, our mission statement, that's kind of the term you want to use, is to explore the many ways in which Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located. Now, that can mean a lot of different things, because relevance is kind of an interesting question. But I think, so my opinion, this is just my opinion, you can take it or, you have, if you have your own opinion on this subject, I hope you'll throw it in the chat so we can talk about it. My opinion is the biggest mistake Freemasonry kind of has made, or Freemasons have kind of made, really since the 60s and the 70s, when you start to see numbers of Freemasons dropping is there kind of became this desire to chase membership or try to get as many people in the door as you possibly could, in the building as you possibly could, as opposed to chasing relevance, um, which I think is the more important thing, or not even chasing relevance, establishing relevance is probably the better term, because um, if you can establish relevance, then the membership will come as a byproduct of that. So what I mean by that is if you have a town and that town has a Masonic temple, um, that temple, for example, will be relevant to the community in the sense that it will be an economic driver for the community because they will more than likely hold banquets and special events there. And they'll need to get catered and need to rely on local businesses to, if nothing else, even the junior warden to supply dinners after the meals. So businesses are going to benefit from having that building present. Um, Depending on the nature of the building, it may be architecturally relevant. The Windsor Masonic Temple, Detroit, so many of these buildings, they add a great deal. They're relevant to the architectural and historical character of the cities in which they're located, as well as they help the economy of or they protect the economy of the community. So, for example, if a brother gets sick and needs assistance, instead of needing to rely on social services, he may have brothers on whom he can rely. Even up to, and I've seen it, Freemasonry keeping people in their houses, Freemasonry keeping people with food on the plate. Um, and so that makes it relevant. And if people know that it's relevant, and then there's also the community space aspect of it. It's a space where you can have community dances, graduations, weddings, concerts, as well as a place, for example, to have vaccination clinics. During World War II, the Windsor Masonic Temple was a location where they collected scrap metal to be recycled. All of those type of things. If you are, I'm trying to think what the word is. If you don't establish that relevance, though, if you try to keep your acts private or keep yourself private, as Freemasonry sometimes does, it's going to be harder and harder to draw members because nobody's going to feel as though they have a connection to the building, or Freemasonry. But if you establish that relevance to the building, then so even if it's something to the effect of like a mother benefits from Masonic Temple because maybe she works there, like at the Detroit Masonic Temple, they employ a lot of people, then her son or her husband is more likely to want to become a member of the Masonic Temple or a Freemason because they have a relationship and they know how valuable that building is. But I think for a long time, Freemasons stopped trying to establish that relevance or exploring that relevance and focused more on just getting people through the door. The problem is they were getting people through the door who didn't really understand what Freemasonry was or had no personal connection to Freemasonry. It wasn't relevant in their lives. And because of that, they were joining for, maybe mercenary reasons, or conspiratorial reasons. They thought that Freemasonry was, hiding a bunch of money or hiding a bunch of, whatever it might be, secrets, as opposed to joining because Freemasonry was in some way, shape, or form relevant to their lives before membership because they had a relationship with a Masonic building, they had a relationship with a Masonic lodge, they had a relationship with Masons in the community, charity, charitable works. I just learned about a Masonic lodge in Northern Ontario. I can't remember the location. That created I can't think of the word now, a park. They sponsored the building of a park, and that park has a Masonic plaque on it, and it's called Masonic Memorial Park. Well, now that is an example of Freemasonry has now made itself relevant in that community. And every child that plays in that park, Freemasonry is now relevant to them. And if the Freemasons keep reminding people about the park and keep reminding people about what they did, then those kids are going to grow up and potentially, the boys will want to join Freemasonry, or the fathers will want to join Freemasonry. The mothers may want to join Eastern Star. They may want to join the youth groups. But that's because they've done something that demonstrates and establishes relevance in the community, as opposed to just going around and handing out a whole bunch of application forms to people. So that is my kind of not brief, but explanation as to why I think it's so vital and so important that we establish relevance in the communities. Um, we got 3 votes. Do you follow Square Compass Promotions? 3 people said yes. I hope you'll take a moment to answer in the chat how it is you follow Square Compass Promotions. Do you follow it on social media? Do you follow it on YouTube, on Medium pages? Do you follow it on our Patreon page? I'd appreciate knowing how you guys follow us. Everybody who's joining us, if you're just joining us, I hope you hit the like button and the subscribe button and answer our poll question. Do you follow Square Compass Promotions, and how do you follow it? As well as, what do you think about our question, or our kind of Square and Compass founding mission, which is our goal is to explore and perhaps grow the relevance of Freemasonry in communities, or establish the relevance of Freemasonry in communities, as opposed to searching for or trying to increase membership. I think you establish relevance first, and then you establish relevance first, and then as a byproduct of that, membership will naturally increase. Joe, I don't know if you're still there. If you want to throw in something about the Phoenix, by all means. Like I said, I can't promise you I'll get to every comment. But yeah, I'll do my best, but I'm not going to make a promise I'll get to every single one. I do think I'm going to talk later on, maybe next week, about mythology and Freemasonry and what those are and how it works. Because I think Freemasonry does take a lot of interesting ideas from mythology. So might be worth just exploring that more. Certainly the muses, especially in the States, they can come up. You can often see them in Masonic artwork in some cases, as well as not so much mythology. That might not be the right word, but historical architecture pops up a lot. I mean, I'm actually curious now. I'm going to go on to over here. Who was the god of stonemasonry? Oh, Hephaestus. Hephaestus was the Olympian god of fire, smiths, craftsmen, metalworking, stonemasonry, and sculpture. He was depicted as a bearded man holding a hammer of tongs, the tools of a smith, and sometimes riding a donkey. I did not know that. We're talking about mythology. And then we have the patron saint of Freemasonry, St. John the Baptist and St. John the Evangelist, who are known together as the Holy Saints John. That's kind of a little example, another little example of Freemasonry and mythology. Certainly the Greek mythology, the Greek god of stonemasonry. That's kind of something interesting. That might be worth bringing in and talking about, along with the phoenix and that type of symbolism as well. We'll give it a bit more time. See who else wants to jump in on the chat. Yesterday, this is when the chat really started to grow. So we'll see who else shows up. And if you guys are joining us, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. The more people we have liking and subscribing, the more people will find this stream. And if you guys are just joining us and you can hit the like button and subscribe button, I would much appreciate it. That helps other people find us as well. But mostly today, I want to talk, like I said, about Square and Compass Promotions, what it is that we do, how you can support us, why we are doing the things that we're doing. But I'd also like to get your comments and your information in the chat. As I was saying before, do you think, and you might not, but do you think that my idea is correct, that Freemasons and Freemasonry should focus on establishing relevance or chasing members or a combination or other something I haven't even thought of yet? Maybe neither. Maybe you have a different idea as to what Freemasonry should focus on and follow. So we'll give it a bit of time. We'll see who else shows up. I'm in no rush. Hoping you'll jump in the chat and let me know how you guys are doing. I'm going to go back to the Patreon page soon enough. And welcome, if you are just joining us, to the Square and Compass live stream. Today's topic, establishing, or do you follow Square and Compass Promotions? We're talking about Square and Compass Promotions, this page, why we're doing it, what the purpose is, what we hope to gain from it, and our central tenet that the goal of Freemasonry needs to focus on not on gathering memberships, but rather establishing relevance, and whether or not you agree with that, disagree with that, and also how you can potentially support Square and Compass Promotions. So if you want to hit the like button, subscribe button, as well as answer the poll question, do you follow Square and Compass Promotions? So like I was saying, the goal of Square and Compass Promotions is to establish or to explore, and I think establish might even be a better word, the many ways in which Freemasonry is relevant to the communities in which it is located. That doesn't necessarily mean, only talking to non-Masons about why Freemasonry matters. We also do talk and post a lot of stories of Masonic interest. Sometimes that interest is even more local. It's, specifically stories that will interest Ontario Freemasons. But we also do try to post subjects or stories that will be of interest to a broader audience that focus on and discuss Freemasonry in the more general context. So, that can establish and explore its relevance. So, for example, we've talked a lot about the Windsor Masonic Temple as well as the Detroit Masonic Temple and why those buildings are so important to the communities in which they're located, and the history behind those stories, history behind those buildings, and how they have been in so many different ways relevant to the communities in which they are located, because the Detroit Masonic Temple is incredibly relevant to Detroit and also people in Windsor, and the Windsor Masonic Temple is actually incredibly relevant to people in Detroit. So give it a bit of time, and we'll see who else joins us in the chat, joins us and watches this. As I said, if you can answer the poll question, do you follow Square and Compass Promotions, as well as answer, hit the like button, subscribe button, answer the poll question, and let us know in the chat what you think of or what you know of Square and Compass Promotions. Oh, Matthew Isherwood, welcome back. Hi, Cameron. Been following your page online for a while now. Found Square and Compass on Facebook. Very interesting content. I'm cool. I'm glad you found it on Facebook. Um, and so that's good to know that it's being found that way. If you could hit the like button, I'd appreciate it on this stream. And also, if you know, or if you, I don't know if you heard me talking, um, my premise, the reason I have Score and Compass promotions is because I want to explore the ways in which Freemasonry is relevant to the communities in which it's located, through its buildings, through its charitable works, through its social cohesion, the nature of social cohesion, it acting as a bridging social capital organization. What are your thoughts on that? To what extent do you think Freemasonry, or even you may not even have an opinion on this, to what extent do you think Freemasonry should potentially try to just focus on establishing its relevance to the community versus should try to increase its membership? And you may not have any thoughts on that, which is fine as well. But let me know what you think in the chat, and answer the poll question, all that good stuff. And anybody else just joining us, as I was saying, we're here to chat today about Square and Compass promotions, and my focus being on the idea of establishing relevance in people, establishing the relevance or exploring the ways in which Freemasonry is relevant to the communities in which it's located, which I think if you're able to establish that relevance, or if through exploring it you can establish relevance, you're more than likely to see membership just increase as a general rule. And you're also, I think this is really important as well, you're going to get the right type of members, or the right type of applicants, right? What I mean by that is, if you're joining because your dad was a Freemason and you have memories of lodge Christmas parties, if you're joining because your mom worked in a Masonic temple, like in Detroit, for example, they hire many staff. If you're joining because you went to the building for a graduation dance or a special event and you have fond memories of the building, if you're joining because you have some type of relationship, or to use that word, the building or the order has some type of relevance to you, then I think you're more likely to be successful as a member. If you're joining because you watched a documentary online and you think it's kind of cool, or you've fallen into conspiracy holes and you think we're hiding a whole lot of money or something to that effect, or you have no personal relationship with the lodge, I think that can be more challenging, right? That's not to say um, people with no connection or to whom Freemasonry has no relevance can't find success in a Masonic lodge. Um, I think that they can, and they oftentimes do, but I think you're more likely to find success if you have that relevance. Oh, Matthew Isherwood, that think that's very important. The more of a community touch, the more authentic membership will learn about what it's all about. Yes. Well, so I'm glad you agree. Thank you so much. Um, the other thing to keep in mind is, um, and I think this is something that Freemasonry has been really focusing on, especially Grand Lodges at the Grand Lodge level, is trying to create that relevance in the membership in the application process, I should say. So, for example, many Grand Lodges are now asking their membership, or the members of a lodge. So before you join, um, you put an application in. Before the application is just approved by form, or just as a matter of course, they're actually encouraging lodges to spend a little bit of time with the membership, with the applicant, and the applicant to spend time with the membership, going to dinners, going to barbecues, going to social events, meeting with the families. And I think the reason for that is to develop that relationship and to develop that relevance. So now it's not just you're joining up with a group of strangers who you have no connection with, but rather you're joining a group with whom you're friends, or at least well acquainted with. And I think that by doing so, you're more than likely to end up creating a better membership experience for both the person joining as well as the um, lodge as a whole. So that's my thinking on that. Matthew, let me know if you agree or disagree. I thought it was really interesting. You say you found us on Facebook. So um, I'm not sure if you remember if you found it by just like searching Freemasonry on Facebook, or if there was a specific way. Yesterday, I thought it was really cool because somebody jumped on who was from Glenview, Illinois, or going to a lodge in Glenview, and they found me through Google search of the Glenview Masonic Temple, which I thought was awesome. So it's always super interesting the way people find me and the way people find Scar Encompass Promotions, and I always enjoy learning about that. I think that's a very helpful thing. We've had some other people jump on. Thank you so much. We had 5 votes. Do you follow Score Income's promotions? Yes, 100%, which is a great number. Let me know in the chat how you follow us, social media, social media, YouTube, Facebook, both. Oh, hello, Nicholas. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you're doing well, and hope you're going to be back, or looking forward to you being back here tomorrow for another live stream. I was trying to think about what we're going to talk about tomorrow. I think what I want to talk about is Freemasonry and mythological kind of symbolism, because I think there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about there, and that can even bring in maybe a little bit of the supernatural as well. So thank you so much for jumping on. Hit the like button if you can, and let me know, Nicholas or anybody, are you finding these through, for example, your notifications? Because I know you asked me if there was one today, and I'm happy to share the link, but I always do hope that you guys will find it also through YouTube. We'll start popping up and showing some of these things on the browse features. But I do really like what Matthew Isherwood said. Things that's very important. The more of a community you touch, the more authentic membership will learn what it's all about. I like the first part of that sentence, especially the more of a community you touch. Because I mentioned before, there is a Masonic park in Northern Ontario. And again, it's not like only Masons can use it. Anybody can use it. But that's an example of touching the community. There was here it is, Keene Park dedication ceremony. So it was in Keene Park. So I guess that's close to Peterborough. Oops, I'm just trying to pull it up. I'm going to share the screen in just 1 second so you guys can see it. Ugh. This would work. I may just have to, I wanted to find pictures of it, but it's not. Oh, I have to log in. All right. What I'm going to do is just share the Google page. Oh, Peter Kuzmov. Welcome back. Hi, Cameron, following on YouTube, mainly Facebook and Medium. Yes, and you actually, helped us out with a great article as well. But awesome. I'm glad to hear it. I'm going to show you some other places you can follow in just 1 second. But first, I want to show or share this. Masonic Park, Northern Ontario. Masons from Peterborough District attend unveiling and dedication ceremony of Keene Masonic Park. Wonder if I can find some images. Oh, there's a good one. Or here's a better one. The Grand Masters. I'm going to try to share this picture here. Once it gets a little bit bigger. No, it's not going to let me. All right, well. But you can see the dedication at the park there. So that's an example of creating relevance, right? Because everybody who uses this park, who plays at that park, is going to see that plaque, is going to know they're at a Masonic park. And then when they get older, if they're kids playing at the park, they may be interested in joining. They may be interested in joining one of the youth groups, or their family, their dad may decide to join, or a husband may decide to join, or a brother, whatever it might be. And even if they don't do any of those things, if there comes a time where the Masons need to hold a banquet or a special event, people are going to be more willing to attend or interested in attending because they know that the Masons put a park in their community. So I think that's a very valuable. Let me know, Peter. I was asking the question, and let me know what you think about it. The idea of, should Freemasonry focus on establishing its relevance in communities or trying to gather members of the community? And you could argue to a certain extent there's a little bit of both at play, because the more members you have, the more relevant you're going to be. If 50%, let's say, of your town population are Freemasons, then by definition, Freemasonry is going to be pretty relevant to the lives of the people in that community on a day-to-day basis. But if you had to pick one, would you focus at the start on getting membership or establishing relevance? Or something else I haven't even thought of? That's always possible as well. Jump in the chat, though, and let me know. We'll give it a few minutes, see who else shows up. And like I said, I'm happy to keep answering questions in the chat as best I can. Yesterday, at the end of it, the stream kind of cut out. I'm not sure what happened. Hopefully that won't happen again this time. But we did have a really good turnout overall of people, and I really did appreciate that. Five votes. Do you follow Scoring Comes Promotions? 100% yes, which is awesome to see. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to give it a bit of time, wait to see who else comes and goes, and we'll keep on answering these questions. Actually, I'm going to switch the poll question, but I appreciate everybody who answered that one. If I could create the poll, that is, Control C. Oops. Just writing down this poll question, just 1 second. Freemasonry, should it focus on establishing? Started the poll there. All right, so we'll give it a second. Yeah, I see it as related, because if you're relevant, you're going to get more members. Okay, yeah, so I think you and I both kind of see that the same way. If you want to answer the poll question there, you can. Also, in terms of following us, you mentioned you follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Medium. You can also follow us on Patreon. I'm going to pull up the page there, just so you know. Square and Compass Promotions, creating Masonic podcasts and special tours. We do offer tours of the building, both in person and virtual, for just $10 a person. But you can become a member for free, so you don't have to pay anything to become a member. But if you want to become a member at different cost levels, otherwise, you can pay. Like I said, it's completely free to become a member, and we do, for example, post at times member-only posts, which is items that are just focused on that you have to be a member. So, for example, we talked about this yesterday. To what age would you date the origins of stonemasonry? And you can see here, you could buy this post for $3, or if you can join for free. If you join for free, you can see these type of posts and become a member without needing to pay anything. I'm going to put down the link here so we can check it out if they so desire. Patreon.com/square and compass. Oh, thank you so much. I'm guessing, Peter, you voted yes. Freemasonry should have focused on establishing relevance in the communities in which it's located. Yes, 100%. One vote so far. Anybody else wants to vote and answer in the chat, by all means. I like this also. I'm just going to stop sharing this screen. But once again, I hope guys will check this one out. Maybe the individual members could do that, not the organization. I mean, we are making good men better, then they make their communities better. The slogan is not making better communities. No. Although honestly, I've never been a huge fan of the, to make good men better slogan. We actually did a whole kind of live stream about that a little while ago. Whether it's a good slogan or not, and kind of some of the concerns I have with it. Having said that, I mean, there is a level of truth to what you're saying in that it's like another downstream effect, right? If you're making men better, if you're making good men better, then kind of by default, you're making the communities better as well in which they're located. So, you could argue that will take care of itself. Although I've always been concerned about that slogan, and I think there are some issues with it. What do you think of the slogan, Peter? If you want to jump into the chat and let me know, do you think the slogan is a good slogan, not a good slogan? What are your thoughts on it as a general rule? Anybody else can also jump in the chat and let me know, what do you think is slogan to make good men better? I don't know, never thought much about it, but I kind of like it. So for me, I was always kind of ambivalent about it, because I worry that with a slogan like that, the focus becomes too much on like it focuses too much on the idea of you're joining Freemasonry to get something out of it, to become a better man, right? As opposed to what you can put into it. Like my philosophy in life, I think, has always been, if you're going to be part of something, then the goal should be to improve that thing. So the joke you used to always hear, which I never liked, was, if you're applying for a job and they ask, why do you want this job? The joke was always, well, you want it because you want the money, right? Why else would you want a job? And to me, it's like, well, there's a million ways to make money. If you're at a job interview and you want to make your money at that particular location, then you should want to be there because of what you can contribute to it, what you can do to make the office better, the factory better, what you can do to improve the lives of the coworkers and the staff and the customers that are around you, right? You can, maybe even it's something just as, well, I'm a friendly person, I'm a nice person, and I think I can, brighten people's day in the office by being there. If you want to be on a sports team, it shouldn't be about how can the sports team get me a victory. It should be, how can I contribute to make sure this team gets a victory? So, that's why I've always answered the question lately when people say, what does Freemasonry offer? My answer is always, it offers the opportunity to make the world a better place. Like Nicholas Romita said, make spirits better to live. So it offers the opportunity to make the world a better place. It doesn't, but that's about you contributing. It's not about what you can get from it. And so if you're focused on this idea of, I'm joining because I'm a good man, but I want to be better, it's like that's going to be a very internal thing. And if you feel like you're not getting that, you feel like you're not being made better, anything to that extent, then you may not stick around when it gets tough to be a Mason, because sooner or later it gets tough to be a Mason. It gets tough to do anything. But if you joined with the goal of making the world a better place and using Freemasonry to contribute to that by helping your brothers and by making the lodge better, then even if you feel like you're maybe not becoming better yourself, you can always make the lodge and the situation better. If that makes any sense. If that makes any sense. You can't help anybody if you need help yourself. Yeah, well, that's the alternative. Not even alternative. That's the kind of the other point of view, which is valid. Don't get me wrong. The expression you sometimes hear is, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? If you're not taking care of yourself, it's very hard to take care of other people. But to me, it's like, you take care of yourself outside of the lodge so you can contribute to the lodge, right? Then so you exercise and keep yourself physically healthy. If you need to take medication, you take medication. If you need to diet, you diet. You keep yourself physically healthy so that physically you are able to contribute to the lodge experience in a positive way. You keep yourself mentally sharp so you can contribute to the lodge mentally. You care for yourself so you can then care for others. And I think Freemasonry can potentially be a part of that, right? As Peter says, I see it as the first step, then your view is the second. Freemasonry can potentially be a part of that. There may be times when you need to rely on Freemasonry in some ways to help you, to make you better, to keep you in your house if you need benevolence, whatever it might be. But I think sometimes, this is just my opinion, sometimes a danger that can occur is because you're never going to be perfect, right? You're never going to be all the way where you need to be. Like there's always going to be room for improvement. There's always going to be room to better yourself. It's a never ending process. But because of that, people sometimes get stuck on that first step and never make it to the second step because they never stop focusing on the ways in which Freemasonry can make them better. And they never get around to making others better because they're always going to find things within themselves to improve. If that makes any sense, I get more in the building character kind of point. Yeah, no, I think that's fair, right? I think that is a big part of it. But again, even with building character, and Freemasonry helps you with that. It's a never-ending process. Your character is always going to have flaws, and you always need to work on those flaws. There has to be a point, though, where you how do I put it? There has to be a point where you go, okay, while I'm working on myself and making, or while the lodge is making me better, I can now make other people better in kind of the same way. Or help others or contribute to the, I think like one example I heard, I don't know if you guys follow, I'm not a big fan of his personally. I never met him. I'm not a big fan of what I've seen of him. But one critique somebody made of him. So Jordan Peterson, right, Canadian doctor, big in political circles in the States. He used to say this thing about like making sure you clean your room, which was a metaphor for getting your life in order before you start trying to, focus on contributing to the larger world. But the problem is, right, there will always be more to do to clean your room. Even if you clean your room what you think is perfectly, there's always going to be more issues and pop up. And if you always just focus on getting yourself in order, that can sometimes mean you don't focus as much as you should on contributing to the larger causes and the greater good, or contributing to your Masonic lodge. And actually, I've known a lot of Masons like that, where they'll always saying like they'll come to the next meeting, they'll come to the next meeting, they'll come to the next meeting. But every time the meeting arises, they have something they have to deal with in their life, and they're waiting until things are perfect before they come to Freemasonry again. And things will never be perfect, right? One of my favorite expressions was, "Don't make the perfect the enemy of the good," which is kind of one of the ways in which I live my life, for better or worse, that expression. So don't make the perfect the enemy of the good. Peter Kuzmov wrote MHM. I'm not sure. Is that meant to be like a questioning mumble? By the way, Peter, I was wondering if you ever watched the TV show Lost, because I loved what you wrote about Westworld and The Matrix. I was wondering if you had any similar thoughts regarding Lost, the TV show, from, oh God, I don't even remember when it was from. 2000, because I've just started watching it again, and I feel like there might be some symbolism of Lost that could apply to Freemasonry, especially in the last couple seasons with Jacob, the Man in Black, Mother, what the island represents as its own kind of sacred space in a way, its own kind of lodge. It's an old one. I have never seen it, but heard it's a good one. It is a good one. I don't know what you have in terms of your streaming services, or even if you maybe can buy the old DVDs. I've found it on Disney Plus, which I really, really enjoyed. So I would suggest that maybe you check it out if you can, because it is a really, really good one. It's a great show. And I think, like, if you look at Lost symbolism, I know we're here talking about Scoring Compass promotions, but we can talk about other things as well. So having said that, I hope if you're watching this, you will hit the like button, subscribe button, answer the poll question there. Lost has a lot of symbolism that could apply to, I think, Freemasonry. Maybe I'll try to write this article We're going to go Lostpedia. Okay, going to see if I can share the screen. Now I have to try to watch it. Disney Plus here in Canada is where you find it. And I actually just got a good deal on Disney Plus, so I've been watching it. Also, I think there's still the DVD box sets. Yes, it was. It started with the plane crash in whenever it was. In 2004, I think is when it started. I'm going to share the screen here. Give me 1 second. Just pulling up the live chat. Takes a second usually for it to go from black screen. So I'm going to give it a second, wait till it shows up, because we can go through the symbols here of Lost. If it ever does show up. Come on. All right, I think the screen is sharing now. Let me know if you can see it and if you can hear me and all that good stuff. But if you look at symbolism of Lost, we got backgammon, bathing, handcuffs, the moth, golf course, the music box, the Halliburton case, season 2, Bible, Charlie's piano. I don't want to leave any spoilers because Peter hasn't watched it yet. So season 3, the glass ballerina, the doll, the knots, the magic box, Ben's dolls. Season 4, water, panda bear, key to the whole game, lock, the leader. Season 5, water, throwing a white rock. Certainly, compass. I know square and compass is, it's not compass, but there might be something Masonic there worth, I don't want to like, spoilers potentially. Everybody be extra careful. See if it takes a second to go through. Just waiting to see if this will load up. I mean, I think the wine bottle, even the water, could also be symbolic gestures. Sometimes you see those in the fellowcraft degree, water especially. I'm going to give it one more second to see if it shows up. By the way, everybody who's just joining us, welcome to the Square and Compass live stream. We're here to chat about Freemasonry, and in this case, particularly Square and Compass promotions. And the question, and you've seen the poll question, Freemasonry, should it focus on establishing relevance in the communities in which it's located, in its communities? But we got kind of sidetracked talking with Peter Kuzmov, not sidetracked. I love these conversations, but talking about the TV show Lost and symbolism of Lost, and maybe whether or not that connects at all to Freemasonry, because I think there might be some connections that might be kind of fun to explore. But in the meantime, I hope that you guys will answer the chat or jump in the chat. Let me know where you're from. Please hit the like button and subscribe button. I'm one away from 90. I'm at 89 right now. 1,789. So one more be 1,790. So that might be kind of fun. It does not want to go to the compass. We go down this way, maybe. All right, I'm giving up on this one for now. It doesn't seem to want to work, this web page. I'm going to stop sharing. I will be waiting for your article on that. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think my article though, Peter, is going to be as good as yours. I'm going to try my best, but I don't think it's going to be quite as good as yours. Um, or maybe you got to watch it. It's only 5 seasons. I know, I'm sure you're busy, but it's 5 seasons. So you watch a couple episodes a day and you'll be all set. In the meantime, everybody who's watching this and who's joining us, as always, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Answer the poll question. We had 2 answers. Freemasonry, should it focus on establishing relevance in the communities in which it's located? Both said yes. No, it was a good article. I enjoyed it. And it got pretty decent traction on Medium, which was really fun as well. I shared it on a few like Masonic sites and things like that. I hope you'll share it as well on yours. By all means, feel free. I hope also you will check out, like I was saying before, you'll check out our Patreon page. You can become a member for free. You can pay memberships or just become a member for free, and you get access to certain posts and information that I don't share anywhere else. So we'll give it a few more minutes, see who else joins. Usually I find it goes in and out. We had a really great number of people joining us yesterday, so that worked really well. No, yeah, it was nice. It was I was quite happy with it, and our numbers in Medium have been growing as well, so that's been great to see. Said anybody else who wants to jump in the chat or just joining us? Square and Compass Promotions. We're here today to chat about Square and Compass Promotions and Freemasonry and kind of our goals in Square and Compass Promotions. My goal being exploring the many ways in which Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located. And so that led to the poll question, which I'm hoping you guys will answer. Freemasonry, should it focus on establishing relevance in the communities in which it is located? We've had 2 votes on that one so far. Both said yes. And if you're just joining us, and I hope you can let us know how you found this live stream. If you follow Square and Compass Promotions, if you're a Freemason, maybe you want to talk about some things about Freemasonry, maybe some things about your lodge or whatever it is, ideas you've had that maybe you haven't brought up in your lodge yet. And if you're not a Freemason, maybe you want to chat about, maybe you have questions about what Freemasonry is. So yeah, by all means, we're going to have another one of these live streams tomorrow, which is going to be another great one. So yeah, it's going to go really, really well. Let me know also, because I know in the States, Thanksgiving is coming up. Are you doing anything for Thanksgiving? Or more specifically, is your lodge doing anything for Thanksgiving? Sebastian Masonic Lodge 232 had Thanksgiving dinner at the lodge. So that's awesome to see. Nicholas Romita, or paranormal activity. Yes, or paranormal activity. Very valid point as well. We can always chat about that. Looks like it was also well attended at Sebastian Masonic Lodge 232. So well done to that lodge on that. In the meantime, though, we're still getting a bit more. Also, as always, please share these live streams with other people. The more people know about them and can find them, the better off we'll be. And the more people will be able to chat again about Freemasonry. And today, Square Compass promotions. Tomorrow, I think we'll chat about mythology and Freemasonry. And there's still time to answer the poll. Freemasonry should have focused on establishing relevance in the communities in which it is located. Peter, let me know if there's, or Nicholas, if there's any favorite TV shows that you guys have, maybe some of them that focus on Freemasonry. Oh my gosh. And other exciting news. Maybe I'll have to watch it tonight. One of my favorite slasher films, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, was released 26 years ago today. I'm definitely sharing this. Very good movie. Very fun movie. Released 1 year after part one. I think sometimes it's weird, but those movies where it's like they're released within a year, you saw that a lot in the 80s and 90s, where it was like Nightmare on Elm Street 4, it was released in 88, then 5 released in 89, Halloween 4, 88, Halloween 5, 89, Friday the 13th, part 7, 88, part 8, 89, and then you saw like the Child's Plays, and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. All these movies released 1 year after the original, the sequels. Sometimes that can create like, they can become kind of cool. Like there's an aesthetic they have to them. Like, it's kind of mercenary filmmaking, meaning, desire for money, but that adds to the charm of those movies in a strange way, if that makes any sense. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Okay, TV show or movie? Because I like both, but I'm going to go on record, and this is a controversial take, and say I prefer the movie to the TV show. I think the movie is very, very good. TV show. Okay, who was your favorite character on the TV show? If you had to pick one, I'm going to go with Spike. Actually, I'm going to go for a semi-controversial pick. I'm going to go, just to be difficult, I'm going to go with Drusilla, because I loved Spike and Drusilla. I think what would have been a really, really cool episode is if Spike and Drusilla had actually somehow managed to get together. Like maybe Drusilla gets a soul after Spike got a soul, and they end up hanging out together afterwards and kind of going off and doing their own adventure, or maybe, in the Angel universe. I think it should have been Spike and Drusilla got together. And I also think Angel and Cordelia should have got together. And I think Buffy should have ended up alone. So there's my hot take. 3 hot takes. Nicholas, Romita, Buffy. Okay, so you're going with Buffy. I mean, I guess it's called Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so I guess that makes sense. 3 votes and 3 yeses. Freemasonry should have focused on establishing relevance in the communities in which it's located. Jump in the chat and let me know, what does it mean by, so I know what it means for me, but for you, what does it mean when you say focus on establishing relevance? How would you go about focusing on establishing relevance in the communities in which Freemasonry is located? If you're a Freemason, you may have some specific ideas that relate to Freemasonry, but even if you're not a Freemason, you may have some general ideas about that. Or we can chat more about Buffy and Angel. Nicholas said his favorite TV show, one of his favorite TV shows is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and his favorite character is Buffy. I said Spike. So I said Drusilla. I think Spike and Drusilla should have ended up together on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I think it's a shame that they didn't. I think it would have been really fun. Or maybe even on Angel, if somehow Drusilla came along on Angel and they hung out together. I thought that would have been really cool. And then Angel and Cordelia should have got together. And Buffy should have ended up, in my opinion, alone. Or maybe for like a crazy example, maybe with Riley. Who knows? If you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, so then Nicholas, that's the question. Who do you think Buffy should have ended up with? Right? Her three main love interests were Buffy and Angel, Buffy and Riley, and Buffy and Spike. What were they called? Like, I think it's like called the Bangles. And nobody ever picks Riley, by the way. Everybody always picks Buffy or Spike. So I'm gonna go with Riley just because he never gets any attention. Angel. So you're going with the classic one then, right? You're going with the original. So then what about on did you ever watch the spin-off series, Angel? Um, like the actual TV show? And then what do you think about poor Angel and Cordelia? Because I thought that those two could have ended up together and it would have been really, really cool, in my own humble opinion. Or did you enjoy the spinoff show? And by the way, anybody who's just joining us, thank you so much for being here. Hope you'll hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're chatting about Square Income's promotions, what my goal is with this channel, with Freemasonry in general, why I think we need to focus on establishing relevance. But Nicholas and I are now talking about one of our favorite TV shows, Buffy and Angel. Okay, so then, Nicholas, what did you prefer, Buffy or Angel, in terms of television shows? Which did you think was better? And anybody else can answer that question as well, or they can actually answer the poll question, and we can go back to kind of talking about what we were talking about before. Pseudoscience University. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. I hope, like I was saying, you will hit the like button and subscribe button if you haven't done so. So you were saying that you would establish relevance by establishing ground base of philanthropy. Let me know if I feel like my internet's acting kind of funny. Okay, so that's interesting. Now, when you say philanthropy, can you expand on that a little bit? Do you mean philanthropy in the sense of like, I'm trying to think of how to say this. Um, like obviously there's philanthropy in the sense of handing out money, or could it also be public style events, like maybe organizing a day to clean up a park or build a park or something to that effect? Um, and in terms of changing public opinion of the fraternity, do you have any thoughts on what the public opinion is? In my experience, um, how do I say this? The public opinion, it's kind of neutral. I think that's in a sense one of the problems. I don't see a lot of positive or negative views of the frat. It's just like most people kind of don't really know what we are at all, which again can cause some problems. So let me know what you think of that, though. Um, of my, if I kind of understand what you're saying, or if there's things you want to add to that. It's good, healthy breakfast to have in the morning. Do concerts and functions in communities and donate portions to most needed areas in any locale. The public's view of masonry is evil. I'm not sure that. So I agree 100%. I love the idea of doing concerts. I love the idea of doing functions in communities. I love the idea of donating portions to the most needed in any local area. I think all of that is really, really important. Um, I don't know if the public's view of masonry is evil or not. Like I've not experienced that personally. Now I have experienced that online. sometimes when I post things online, I end up seeing a lot of negativity towards Freemasonry. But I haven't seen that um, in my day to day when I mention I'm a Freemason. Um, like I said, I mostly get like I've heard of them. And some people don't even think that they actually are real. It's like they think, and then when I point out, like, because I'm from Windsor, like, have you ever been to the Windsor Masonic Temple or the Detroit Masonic Temple? They think of it as just the name of a place, and they don't actually connect it to the idea that it actually is a fraternity, um, which I always found kind of amusing. Um, it's like, no, it's actually real. Like that's why it's named that. That makes any sense. Um, I'm from Detroit. I love Detroit. I absolutely love Detroit. I'm going to share something with you in just 1 second in the chat, so you can see how much I love Detroit when people knock it, because it's pretty amazing. Nicholas Ramita, what are you doing tonight? Uh, well, I got a bunch of work to do, but then I'm going to um, watch an episode of Lost and then a Hallmark Christmas movie. Oops, if I could, I'm trying to grab something quickly. I want to share a link with you guys, or share a link particularly with pseudoscience. Um, but yeah, I can't tell you how many times pseudoscience. So yes, it is a true Renaissance city, and it's an amazing city. Um, I can't tell you how many times people in Windsor have told me went to the Masonic in Detroit, but didn't recognize that it was a Masonic temple and like what the word actually meant. They just thought it was like a concert venue and not a functioning Masonic building, which drove me crazy. Um, because it is, in my opinion, such an incredible city, an incredible building, and it deserves to get a little bit more love than it often does get, I think. My computer's being kind of slow, but I'm hoping I can get this in 1 second whenever it does pop up. I want to share our article on Medium I wrote, Pseudoscience. I don't know if you can potentially, or if you're interested in following me on Medium, but I wrote an article about my travels to Detroit. Not that I even Michigan, more particularly. There includes our picture of the Detroit Masonic Temple. I'm going to share the link, and if you want to go to Medium and potentially follow me there, I would very much appreciate it. I do try to write as much as I can about Freemasonry on there. Again, this is all part of Square and Compass Promotions, um, and why I do it, um, and how you can support by following me on different social media sites and different websites like Medium, like YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. It's just kind of being slow right now, so I'll give it a second to catch up. Things to do at home? Yeah, watch some movies, watch some TV shows. So I was studying masonry and realized the symbols represent mathematical proportions of Earth. It shows the sun's revolution in the degrees and the Earth's shape, a pyramid. Does masonry teach this? Well, so sorry. Oof. I'm just gonna get this link up and then I'll answer your question. Link copied. Um, see if it jumps in. There it goes. You should see that link now, pseudoscience, medium.com, Michigan Masonry. If you want to click on that and follow me on Medium. No, I just wanted to get that link up there. So here's what I'd say. And this is my experience. I've been a Mason since 2007, so I don't pretend to know everything, but I know a lot. I think I've been pretty active for a very long time, and so I've been to a lot. So in my experience, I've researched a lot on my own. In my experience, the symbols of Freemasonry, they don't represent the mathematical proportions of Earth. They are kind of there is some connection between the idea of the rotation of the Earth and the location of, for example, officers in lodge. So the master of the lodge sits in the east because that's where the sun rises. The senior warden who closes the lodge sits in the west because that's where the sun sets. The junior warden, who's responsible for the lodge at refreshment, otherwise known as break, sits between the two, representing the meridian or 12 noon, because that is the time for lunch or refreshment. So, it represents those symbols represent the Earth's rotation around the sun, or the sun's revolution. Pyramids are important in Freemasonry because we trace our origins to stonemasons and stonemasonry. Well, I actually had this whole conversation yesterday. To what age does stonemasonry date? I think you could argue it dates as early as 3.3 million years. But the idea of pyramids is more the idea of stonemasonry, and the morals we apply. So you'll hear a lot of phrases like squaring your actions, right? Which is referencing both the idea of a actual square, the tool, the tool, the square, the 90-degree square, as well as metaphorical sense, squaring your actions as in being honest with those around you. Meeting somebody on the level, treating them honestly. I'm literally a Mason without oath. I also just realized the first Masons of this age were Jews, those who survived the last age. So we have to talk, bro. They're teaching you the pseudo doctrine. You have to pay your dues. Then you get more knowledge as you up your degree. Well, I mean, fair enough. I'm not sure about any of that. I do pay my dues. I pay my dues 3 times over. So, um, I'm paying lots of dues. In my experience, when people have that idea, yeah, I mean, there is levels of degrees, but there's no hidden knowledge in that sense. I mean, the doctrines are pretty much there. And in terms of Mason without oath, I'm not sure what that means. I mean, there's stone masons, people who make things out of stone. Beyond that, what it means to be a Mason without an oath. I mean, if you're going to join a lodge, what's called a regular lodge, religious moral obligations, but it's necessary to be a member. I mean, you can call yourself a Mason in spirit, or you can say you studied a lot, but to get a card to be a member of a lodge, you actually have to take an oath. Also, it's important to note that one thing I'm always super hesitant about is this idea of like higher degrees having more knowledge or being of more importance. In my experience, is joining since 2007, there's 3 degrees that matter: first degree, second degree, third degree, and each degree is how do I put this? Like, if you get your third degree, then you're as much a Mason as the Scottish Rite Mason who gets his 33rd degree, or the York Rite Mason who gets his, moves up past the Knights Templar, or the Shriner, right? The 3 degrees are the most important degrees. And once you're a Master Mason, that's it. Now, you could argue, if you wanted to, that the actual most important degree is being a master of a lodge, or being the installing master of a lodge, which is true, I think. But I think those 3 are the most important. And everything beyond that is just a specialization. So, to give an example, I graduated law school. Um, I'm a lawyer, and everybody who graduated law school with me, that's like getting your 3rd degree. We're all equal. We all have the same degree. Now, some of my classmates went and studied real estate law. Some went and studied criminal law. Some went and studied family law. And they had to take specialized courses and training afterwards in those fields. But they're not, because one person went to criminal law and one person went to family law, and one person maybe didn't specialize at all, or maybe even doesn't practice law, that doesn't make any of them like more of a lawyer than anybody else, or more of a law school graduate. They're all equal. It's just certain specializations. And in the same sense, with Freemasonry, it's like the 3 degrees are what matter. This idea of there being some sort of a special knowledge, that is not my experience. Being an 18th degree Mason and having a lot of friends who are above that. Nicholas Ramita sent you a text on your phone. I'll look and I'll see if I can find it. Pseudoscience. My grandfather was a Shriner. All the doctrine was left to me. Yeah, well, people don't realize this in a lot of cases, but to be a Shriner, you have to be a Mason. I do think a lot of people don't know about that, but that also goes to what we were talking about before, this idea of um, this idea of philanthropy, right? Like, and relevance in the community. Shriners hospitals are pretty heavily involved in the benevolence and the philanthropy side of it. And well, just give me 1 second. I just got a phone call. I gotta. Just sending a text message to somebody quickly. Brother of the lodge. Also, if you want to follow us on Patreon, you can as well. I am familiar with discretion on your part. If it's too much, please convey, and I truly understand. It's all public now, though easy to find. Well, let me know where, like, just put down some words I can maybe search, because I don't know anything about the learn more about. Give me just 1 second. I just got to respond quickly. Got a message here. Just waiting for a little bit longer to see. Thank you, by the way, Pseudoscience, for sticking around. I hope that you've hit the like button and subscribe button. The more people have liking and subscribing, the better. Um, I made it up to 1,790 subscribers, so thank you so much. That definitely helps other people find it the more we get. The compass and square are also the tools needed to build the world after it has been destroyed, which is a cycled occurrence. The knowledge about iron from stone is a secret. Um, well, I mean, I think there's an interesting idea in what you're saying. I don't know if you're speaking literally. I actually did a podcast with a Mason who talked about the idea that that's kind of really interesting. Pseudosciences University, of course. Please do the same. In the next few days, I'll be doing full lectures on the matter. Great. Well, let me know where I can find them. I'd be interested in learning more. Um, in the meantime, everybody watching this, if you're just join chat, if you want, say hello. Answer the question we have there. Um, Freemasonry. Should it focus on establishing relevance in the communities in which it is located? Yes or no? We got 4 answers, 100% saying yes. Back again. Speaking about helping communities, welcome back. Thank you for coming back. Speaking about helping communities, you have interviewed a brother, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago. I have to show you what was accomplished after the talk. Let me know, by all means, what was accomplished after the talk. Um, I would love to know more about that and who the brother was as well. That'd be great to hear about. Um, the knowledge to build is equally as powerful as to destroy. Um, but yeah, Peter, by all means, let me know. And also let me know if you're interested in, if you've checked out the Patreon page, you want to become a member for free, all that type of stuff. But yeah, now I'm curious. I'm also curious who the brother was. Sorry, just 1 second. Just had to send a test message. The knowledge is to build is equally as powerful to destroy. Must be kept. I will say, I will, but we'll send it as a private message so it's not seen as advertisement or something. Well, you got me on Facebook, right? So you can send it through the Square and Compass channel. Um, I think the idea of the light is um, check out our website. The more guys are checking these type of things out, the better it is. Sorry, I'm just still sending messages back and forth. I'd be going to see a Master Mason's degree tomorrow night. The more live stream frozen. Give me a moment. Got nothing, bro. You're still out. Try starting a new stream. I'll come back, reset your Wi-Fi. I may have to, although. Oh, Peter, I was switching from Wi-Fi to data back and forth. I am back. All right. I was switching from Wi-Fi to 5G back and forth. So was I, but it looks like I'm back now. So we'll give it a little bit more. I'm going to be logging off for this live stream. I'll be back tomorrow after I reset my Wi-Fi.